Don't believe the lie that you've just changed. Most women don't evolve. They disappear. There was a version of you, sharp, alive, unapologetically radiant. And no, she didn't fade because of time. She was buried, slowly, quietly, by your own hands. Every time you said yes when your soul screamed no. Every time you chose to be liked instead of being real. Every time you swallowed your truth to keep the peace. You didn't grow. You abandoned yourself. And now you stand in front of a mirror that reflects a woman who looks fine, but feels nothing. No fire, no edge, no presence. Just a carefully maintained version of acceptable. Here's the part no one tells you. This doesn't fix itself. Time doesn't heal this. Time deepens it. Until the girl you used to be becomes a stranger you can no longer reach. So ask yourself this, honestly. How much longer are you willing to live as a diluted version of who you once were? This is not a video for comfort. It's a confrontation. And if you're still here, it means a part of you is not dead yet. I remember the exact moment I realised something was wrong. And it wasn't dramatic. No breakdown. No loud argument. No life-altering event. Just silence. I was standing in front of a mirror one night, brushing my hair like I had done 1,000 times before. And for a split second I paused. Not because I looked different, but because I felt nothing looking back. It was like staring at a version of myself that had been carefully edited, filtered, approved, safe, but not real. And that's when it hit me. I hadn't lost myself all at once. I had been leaking pieces of who I was, slowly, quietly, over time. I started tracing it back. The first time, I ignored my intuition because I didn't want to seem difficult. The times I laughed at jokes that made me uncomfortable just to keep things light. The relationships where I kept shrinking, adjusting, reshaping, until I became someone easier to keep, but harder to recognise. I told myself I was being mature, understanding, evolved. But the truth? I was abandoning myself in small, socially acceptable ways. And no one warns you about that kind of loss. Because from the outside, it looks like you're doing everything right. You're stable, you're dependable, you're good. But inside, something is rotting. A quiet kind of decay. The kind that doesn't scream. It numbs. And the most dangerous part is you get used to it. You adapt to the emptiness. You normalise the disconnection. You convince yourself this is just what adulthood feels like. But it's not. It's what self-betrayal feels like when it goes unchecked. And I didn't see it clearly until I reached a point where even the things that used to excite me didn't move me anymore. That was my breaking point. Not pain, not chaos. Absence. That's when I had to sit with a question I had been avoiding for years. When did I start living a life that requires me to constantly edit myself? And the answer was uncomfortable. It started the moment I made external validation my system of measurement. When I let other people's reactions define my worth. When I outsourced my identity to what was acceptable instead of what was true. That's when I lost my centre. And this is where everything shifted. Because I realised something that no one had ever explained to me this clearly. You don't suffer because life is hard. You suffer because you're trying to control things that were never yours to control. How people see you, how they respond, whether they stay, whether they approve. That's the trap. And the more energy you pour into that, the further you drift from yourself. That's when I was introduced to a concept that changed everything. Self-mastery. Not controlling the world. Controlling your alignment with your own truth. And it sounds simple until you try it. Because self-mastery demands something most people avoid. Radical honesty. It forces you to see where you've been wearing a mask. Where you've been negotiating your boundaries. Where you've been performing instead of living. And at first, that realization feels heavy. Because it means accepting that no one took your power away. You gave it. Willingly. Repeatedly. Quietly. But here's the shift. The moment you see that clearly is the moment you can take it back. Not by becoming who you used to be, because she was still learning, but by rebuilding from something deeper, something that doesn't depend on applause, something that doesn't collapse under rejection, something rooted in your internal standard, not external approval. I started making small changes, saying no without over-explaining, allowing silence instead of filling it with compliance, letting people misunderstand me and not rushing to fix it. At first it felt uncomfortable, like I was breaking some invisible rule. But then something unexpected happened. I started feeling again. Not always good, but real. And that's when I knew I wasn't becoming someone new. I was returning to something that had always been there, buried under years of conditioning. But the truth doesn't end there. Because awareness alone doesn't free you. If you're seeing yourself in this story right now, then you're standing at the same edge I once stood on. And what you do next decides everything. Now you know. And knowing changes nothing, unless you act. So here's your way out. Not gentle, not comfortable, but real. First, stop lying to yourself. You are not just tired, you are disconnected. Call it what it is, because clarity cuts deeper than denial ever will. Second, cut what is draining you. Not later, now. The conversations where you shrink, the roles where you perform, the expectations that force you to betray your own voice. You don't negotiate with things that are killing your spirit. You remove them. Third, rebuild your internal standard, not based on who stays, not based on who approves, based on who you are when no one is watching. That is your system now. Fourth, create space to hear yourself again. Silence, stillness, no distractions, because the woman you've been looking for is not lost. She's been waiting for you to stop abandoning her and understand this clearly. You are not here to be liked. You are here to be whole. So stand in front of that mirror again, and this time, don't look away. Hold eye contact. Stay there until you recognize her. Because the moment you do, that's the moment you take your power back. If you're done living diluted, prove it. Not to me, to yourself. Choose differently, starting now.